I was working a part-time job delivering pizzas for Domino's. Money was tight and I had to find something to supplement my income, so I found out my local Domino's was hiring and took the job. It was a fairly easy job. My first week, all I did was listen to music in my car and deliver pizzas late at night. However, something very scary happened during my first week delivering. I had just gotten an order for 2 large pies and a 2-liter Coke for delivery. I quickly loaded the pizza and drink inside my car and took off. The GPS was taking me to a house that was about 15 minutes away from the shop. This was a really long drive, so I was hoping they would give me a good tip to make up for the long drive. So I did my usual thing and had my music playing in the car. After quite some time, I had just arrived at the house. It wasn't one of those houses in the subdivision where your closest neighbor was only 15 feet away. This was a house in the outskirts of the city where the nearest neighbor was like half a mile away. I saw an old beat-up truck on the grass driveway and it looked like it hadn't been started in months. My only light source was my headlights because I kept my car on. I walked out with the food and rang the doorbell only to notice it wasn't functional because there was no light on it, and I would have at least heard it since the door on the house looked like it was made out of paper. So I tried knocking several times, but nothing. About 5 minutes had passed, and this was getting frustrating because my arms were getting tired of holding the pizza and the drink. I called my manager, and he told me to knock one more time, and if they did not answer, then just bring the food back. I honestly just wanted to get the heck out of there because it was very sketchy, and I was getting super uncomfortable. At this point, I wasn't even thinking about the tip anymore. There was a forest surrounding the house and it was pitch black. I could not see much. After one more knock, nothing happened. Nobody answered the door. I about had it at this point and started at my car. Did I really just drive 15 minutes to the middle of nowhere just for nothing? Before heading to my car, I noticed there was 2 dark figures standing behind the trunk of my car, and they froze from whatever they were doing as soon as they saw me. I literally died inside because I was frozen in shock as well. Suddenly, the 2 figures came out, and there were 2 men. One of them said, "Hey, you're finally here. I've been waiting for the pizzas." I was still in shock from all of this. It took me a few seconds to even get words out of my mouth. I asked him why they weren't outside and didn't hear me knocking on the door, but he just said they were having a little late night hangout outside. This was very suspicious because I know for a fact I did not see any lights, music, or any talking of some sort when I pulled up. Red flags started going off all over my head. I just did not know what to do. This was my first week delivering pizzas. I kept my distance and tried to take out their 2 large pies from the hot bag when suddenly the man he was with that never said a word this whole encounter grabbed for something in his hoodie, and I could instantly, in a reflection, see that it was a sharp knife. This was a straight up robbery. He came at me, but my instincts immediately kicked in, and I threw the hot pizzas right at his face and took out my pepper spray I had bought just before I started this job. I released the safety and sprayed him and his friend, and they both fell to the ground, covering their eyes, crying and sneezing from the mace. I took this chance to sprint towards my car, hopped in and put the car in drive, and drove out of their driveway as fast as I could. I had left the pizza bag and all the pizza back in the house. I immediately called my manager, and he called the cops and reported the incident. When the police got there, there was no one to be found. That explains why nobody answered the doorbell. The house was vacant, and there were 2 unknown guys that used it as a delivery address and were trying to rob me. I am still working as a pizza